Arr, Pirate fans, it's time to find out the state of the ship of your defending champions for the 2022 season with your hosts, Johnny Wilbur and Jake Ignaszewski. And now, brought to you by Resonate, it's the state of the ship.
Welcome back into the state of the ship after game one. Johnny Wilbur, Jake Ignaszewski, and Jake, your first IFL football game. Tell me, first thought, what did you think?
It was so exciting. You could really feel the electrifying energy within the arena. You know, some of it was obviously a little bit because it was opening night, ring ceremony, banner reveal, but you could really feel everybody was in the game every single play. And also, I thought, you know, we've talked about it throughout this offseason, you know, how big the hits are, especially up against the walls. But, I mean, you could hear it from, you know, the top row of the arena. And, you know, it was really cool seeing the whole fan interaction. You know, I had talked to Khalid preseason a little bit about, you know, the rock, paper, scissors, shoot. But, you know, it was cool seeing him do it, like, in-game and also see the fans' reaction.
And the Frisco team doing it, too, getting up there and with the kids and really interacting with them. It's really great family fun.
I couldn't agree more, and you know, that's something, especially talking with fans throughout this offseason, that's one of the biggest things. They love the interaction with the players and how they're so up close, and you know, also the players treat the fans like they're human beings. You know, there's sometimes where in the NFL, you know, they have that diva mentality where they might not even look the fans in the eyes, but you know, with the Pirates, like you mentioned, it's such a family fun environment, and they want to help the fans feel like that they're part of the family, feel like they're part of the organization. Without
a doubt. I want to thank Resonate, our sponsor here at the State of the Ship, for sponsoring us as always. And Jake, out at the arena, I think one of the things that we can do here is to help the fans interact, is maybe some way at the home games, take some questions. And we'll have some fans fill out some questions, maybe shoot them an email. We'll put your email at the end of this segment, and shoot us a question. If you have something you want to ask one of the guys or us, you know, to ask somebody or something you don't know about the game. Maybe you're new to the IFL, like Jake was, and you're not sure about why, you know, there's not allowed to kneel down in the last minute to kill time. You know, the little things that make a difference in the IFL.
Yeah, it was really interesting, especially throughout the whole game, being able to see, you know, everything sort of unfold. You know, we've talked about it through this preseason, the different rule changes, but now being able to really see it has been really cool. And, you know, something that we've obviously talked about 2 weeks ago with head coach Kaiser is seeing the players acclimate to those new rules. And, you know, it was really nice seeing some of the new signees being able to make some big plays and really help the Pirates come away with their first win.
Speaking of which, it was a tough game. The Pirates went down early on in the first quarter after two plays, a two-play drive for a touchdown by Frisco, but the defense settled down and they were able to you know, control the game and pace a little bit. But I have to say, I saw an awful lot of yellow flags on the field that first half for sure.
Yeah, overall, there was 25 combined penalties between both teams.
Wow.
When you look at it, it's in terms of the yardage, you know, doing the math, I believe it's 197 yards total, which, I mean, that adds up, especially on a 50-yard field.
Right.
And, you know, we saw it especially early, and you were sort of expecting this in terms of these two teams played each other in the semifinals, and also with, you know, former Pirates fan favorite J.D. Griggs on the other side, as well as Santos Ramirez, the Quiviante Gonzalez. You know, you were kind of sensing that there might be a little bit of chippiness, and we saw that especially in the first half.
We sure did, with the head coach losing his sideline privileges at first, and then two personal fouls leading to an ejection, and then the defensive coordinator also losing his sideline privileges. And that might be a question that you wonder right there. The coaches are allowed to walk the sideline in order to you know, send in the plays each game. They're right up there on the line of scrimmage, basically, until they commit a personal foul, and it's usually an F-bomb or something at one of the referees that I've noticed usually gets their privileges taken away.
Well, that was something that I actually didn't realize. And, you know, when I saw Coach Kaiser, you know, walking down the sidelines and really getting into the plays, it was really cool to be able to see his energy on the sideline. And, you know, as you mentioned, the defense didn't play up to the level that we really saw last season, but that's something with, talking, a few guys after the game, like Alejandro Benefield and Josh Gable, they sort of expressed just the willingness to want to improve during these 2 weeks. If you didn't know, especially with the Spokane Shock, unfortunately getting terminated by the IFL, there was some schedule changes in terms of the entire league, and so now the Pirates have 2 bye weeks until their next game on April 3rd against Quad City. So they're going to have a lot of time to be able to, figure out what worked and what didn't.
Yeah, and that's just like getting a little bit of a test run and then being able to bring it back into the laboratory and tweak that chemical and then tweak that the chemistry a little bit and hopefully be able to come up with some answers. I think that just timing, connections were important. Well, it was nice to see Josh Gable, though, back and doing his thing as that kick went right through the uprights there to win the game.
You said it perfectly. He had 4 seconds left on the clock to get that game-winning field goal, 33 yards, I believe, and to ultimately help the Pirates win 30-27. But, I talked to Josh after the game because, he did have some struggles early on. He missed 2 kicks overall, had 1 kick blocked, and I asked him, how were you able to regroup during halftime and go into the second half with a new mindset? And he sort of mentioned, I'm always pretty even keel. I always look towards the next kick and how I can improve. And he mentioned that throughout the game, coaches were kind of preparing him for this specific situation. So he was already a little bit mentally prepared for that game-winning opportunity to ultimately kick the field goal. But as you mentioned, I had the opportunity to get to know Josh over this past week, and such a humble and nice guy, very genuine person.
Yeah, really is.
And as it was announced, this past week, he's signing with the Edmonton Elks, going to the CFL, which really makes me happy for a guy like that.
Sure.
Being able to level up his game, but we're definitely going to miss him here at the Pirates organization.
And he played professional soccer too, right? In the European League.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean that's pretty talented. So one of the things, and I think we might have talked about it on one of the episodes earlier this season, but last year he kicked left-footed. He's a right-footed kicker, but he kicked left-footed because he had a hip problem on his right side. And I'll tell you, you wouldn't have known. And he didn't miss a beat. He was kicking field goals and kickoffs all night, left-footed. And I'm like, this is some pretty talented things here.
Yeah, he's a very talented guy. It definitely showed with the leg strength that he showed on Saturday night. And luckily, even though he did have some struggles, luckily he was able to ultimately come up very clutch for the Pirates. But, one other guy that came up so clutch for the Pirates was quarterback Alejandro Benefield. And, it was pretty cool, especially pre-game, being able to see his emotion during the whole ceremony, being able to, see him take the microphone, talk to the fans. And I had the opportunity to talk to him after the game about that. And, he just mentioned how much it meant to him for all those fans coming out and supporting them throughout the entire season.
Sure.
Also, he talked about with that ceremony, it helped them, obviously celebrate the great things of last season, but also remember some things that really didn't go right. Obviously, as most fans know, they started off the season 3-3, and then ultimately led them to a 3-game winning streak. And we haven't mentioned this yet, but the Pirates,
12 now.
the Pirates are now on a 12-game winning streak. But as everybody in the organization has sort of spoken about, they just focus on the next game and don't really look at those sort of accolades. But as I mentioned, we really saw Alejandro come up big for the Pirates this past Saturday.
Yeah, he sure did. And Arian Maxey Penton, too, on the other side, the defensive side of the ball, had an interception and really commanded the backfield very well. I mean, Frisco was a tough team, and they played them 3 times last year, and they come in as I want to say the rival of the Pirates is what a lot of people were saying, because they did play that 3 times last year, and they split those first 2 games. They come in, they had an attitude, and they were ready to play. And I don't know that maybe the timing with the ceremony and everything, it was something that led to the Pirates' slow start, but they did finally start to get into the rhythm of everything. I think it took a little time for everybody to get into the rhythm of everything. Game day ops, the people on the field. It's funny because Jake, from the way you were running around that place like a madman the other night, videotaping everybody. You must have had hours of footage to go through.
Yeah, it was definitely a lot of fun, especially experiencing my first game. Reflecting on around it. It's a perfect reason why I love working in sports. And I'm definitely grateful for the opportunity to work for this amazing organization, to have the opportunity to work the games. And especially to be able to, see the guys that, I've had the opportunity to gain relationships. We've had the opportunity to gain relationships throughout the season. Being able to see them, put it all out on the field and really work their butt off for that win. And, one thing, you brought up the defense. The defensive backs came up so big, and they did so much last season as well. Another guy who came up huge, Chucky Williams.
Yeah, for sure.
0.5 tackles, 1 tackle for a loss. And, even pregame with him as well, it's really cool to see everybody interacting with the fans, seeing old faces and everything like that. They have their special handshakes and all that sort of stuff. So especially during that whole experience, it was really cool to see how much the players really interact with the fans.
Yeah, we did have one injury. It looks like, was it
offensive lineman Chaz Wright.
And an ankle injury, but it looks like he's going to be able to make it back. I thought maybe it was an ACL. Of course, always the offensive lineman. Those are the one things you're worried about. And he's going to be able to make it back after a little bit of reconstructive surgery on the ankle, and so he'll be ready to go in a couple of weeks. The good thing is a couple of extra bye weeks is going to give him a little bit of extra time to heal up.
Yeah, I actually texted Chaz right after the game, and sent my support, hopefully for a speedy recovery.
He's all personal with the players. He's all up in there.
Well,
it's great because that's what's great about it, Jake, is they're good about it.
Yeah.
The players know where their bread is buttered. They get interacted, like you said, with the fans, and they're not just walking by you like you're nobody. They know you have a job to do, and they're really great about either accommodating us for an interview or whatever it be. And it's really great to build your relationship throughout the season with the players as well. It's not just the front office staff; it's an entire team, and that's what it takes the entire team to work.
Exactly, and he mentioned that he's feeling all right. He's getting better, and it's unfortunate that this happened. His birthday's March 18th, so it happened a few days before his birthday. But we're sending him our support, speedy recovery. But we saw a guy like Jemias Pittman, who plays defensive line, really transition to offensive lineman, come up huge for the Pirates, and that's ultimately what led to him being named the player of the game this past Saturday.
Sure.
But being able to have guys like that on your team are able to be versatile like that is so important.
Yeah, Marquise Carter struggled out of the backfield a little bit, but got some runs in and was able to gain some yardage. And I think over time of the season, he'll be able to find the holes and work with the offensive line a little bit more. I think one of the things, Jake, and you noticed that, and it had to be probably the most different thing to spot in the game is the start of the receivers and the backs and the way that they charge up to the line and just I think we saw maybe one false start or two and because of timing, but eventually they'll get that down pat. You won't ever see a flag on that play.
Very true, and you brought up to Alejandro last week on our episode, sort of how he's helped the wide receivers acclimate to that. There's the acclimation of the rules, but then also, especially with the wide receivers, like we've talked about with Tio Redding, you got to get used to those walls. You also got to get used to that timing and that start.
Sure.
And I think that's what ultimately led to the struggles a little bit on offense early on, especially passing-wise, is being able to not only get those open receivers, but being able to get that timing down with the quarterback and the wide receiver and that connection.
Jake, it was a great game, but I think that we can get better. Everybody can get better, and the team can get better. And in order to win the United Bowl, we're going to have to get better, and that's that's what the long season is all about. It's not an 8-game season; it's a 16-game season. Even with the movement of the schedule, we're still playing 16, and we're going to get there. And I can't wait. The ceremony ahead of time. I wonder if that played a little bit of factor into just delaying things and just breaking up what is normally pretty a regimen schedule going into game night.
I think a little bit because we saw the guys pregame, getting into that mindset. And
then they kind of had to come.
Right.
And not that it wasn't exciting, but you're waiting to play football is a bit of a difference.
Yeah, and when you get that war mentality that they sort of have to get into before the game, it's so important. And it's great to reminisce, it's great to celebrate. But I think you're right. I think that might have impacted it a little bit. But looking at sort of like some of the final stats, the Pirates had a slight edge in terms of passing yards with Frisco, 90-97. Frisco outran the Pirates 168 yards to 134.
They had a dual quarterback threat too. They had two different guys coming in. One was more of a passing quarterback. The other, Rent, I think, was more of a running quarterback.
Yep. Blake Sims. As well as T.J. Edwards. I was curious to see.
That's why I bring him.
I was curious to see how Sims really did. He was so good for Alabama in 2014, and that's mainly what he's most known for. But and also played with Spokane last season. But looking with T.J. Edwards, we talked about it with head coach Kaiser that they were ready for him to, scramble out of the pocket,
sure,
on the run. And it's sort of like when you look at how the Saints did it with Drew Brees and Taysom Hill. When you see Taysom Hill coming out off the sideline, you have a little bit in your mind, they might run it. And I feel like that's sort of what the defense thought when they saw T.J. Edwards run out under center.
Yeah, they get that pass run option, and they used it well. They used the difference of mixing guys in and out and plays well. But the Pirates came up just that bit better, and were able to control the clock. Really manage the clock in the fourth quarter.
Very true, and I think that was so huge for them. And I think the number one thing that really helped them was getting the ball last. Obviously,
sure.
I think that's an obvious point since they won the game, but as well, as we mentioned, they got the ball at the minute 14.
Right. They had to do something, they had to make something happen because you cannot just run out time in the IFL. You have to play to the very last second.
Exactly. And, we did see something interesting where they called a timeout. Alejandro Benefield ran 1 yard, and then they called one more timeout to ultimately get Josh Gable's kick. And I think sort of like the mindset with that was they wanted to see if they could get any more yards.
Yeah, I almost thought that it was centering the ball in the field, but the ball was pretty centered in order for the kick, and I think they were just looking for that 1 or 2 extra yards.
I think so as well. But, as we mentioned, and something that I talked with Alejandro about is, him and Coach Stout are going to take these 2 weeks, look at the film, see what they can improve on, see what they can, see what they liked. Same thing's probably going to happen with Rayshawn Kaiser and the defense. And
I got to think that Coach Kaiser went in after that first game unhappy with the performance of the team. A W is a W, Jake, and no matter what it is, it's a win in the books, but you want to be able to improve on that.
Very true. He obviously was definitely happy to get his first win under.
Sure.
But as you mentioned, it probably wasn't how he expected it.
Right. And I don't know. I'd love to see him go, run the table here, but a 12-game winning streak, extending back to last year is nice. I don't want to see it fall off of a cliff either. So, the more we can go, the better. If we can go straight through this season without a loss, that'd be great, but that's going to be tough to do.
I couldn't agree more. And, just before we wrap up, I just wanted to mention one more move that the Pirates did. Wide receiver T.O. Redding, good friend of the show, somebody that we interviewed a little bit during the preseason, a.k.a. the Divine Gift.
The Divine Gift! I was waiting all night to say that. I had it written in front of me, Jake. I was waiting for that big call, but I didn't get to use that one. I did get a good Alejandro Benefield in there, though.
I did hear that one. But he got selected by the Houston Gamblers in the USFL supplemental draft. And so we'll see him level up his game with the USFL.
It's so hard, Jake, because we want to see these guys succeed and do better and get chosen by the USFL and get back out on the big field. But man, we're losing some good players to this USFL. First Toby Johnson, now T.O. Redding. Who's next?
And we talked about a little bit today. You make those relationships, and it's tough to see them go.
Sure is.
But it's awesome to see them.
Maybe we can get Tom Brady to come play here.
That'd be awesome, man. And,
he's not done yet.
Exactly. He hasn't gotten an Arena Football Championship yet, so maybe you can do.
Should we entice him?
Maybe.
I think we should go on. Like, Tom, if you see this, Arena Football Champion. We're not getting rid of Alejandro. You're going to have to play backup for a couple of years. But then you might be able to get in there.
Yeah, definitely might as well take a shot for it because
Give it a shot.
You said that you've missed being on the sideline,
and your arm's not what it used to be.
maybe we won't go that far. But as we mentioned, we have 2 bye weeks up until the April 3rd game against Quad City Steamwheelers here at Phoenix Field at the DCU Center.
A Sunday game.
So we'll be definitely tuning you guys in over these 2 weeks to get you ready for that game, get you prepared. We'll also definitely be doing a pre-game show so then you can be prepared for that game. But as always, we really appreciate everybody tuning in every single week to the State of the Pirate Ship, so you can be updated for weekly Massachusetts Pirates news. We also do interviews if you haven't checked those out. If you're still new to the team, definitely go and check those out. Last week we did an interview with the quarterback Alejandro Benefield, and the week before head coach Rayshawn Kaiser. Definitely great watches or listens, so definitely go and check those out. But if you have not yet, make sure to go over and subscribe on whatever audio platform you're listening to. We also post a video version on YouTube, so definitely subscribe there so you don't miss an episode. But we greatly appreciate all the support, and we'll see you guys next week.
Thank you.